Man, Nikki Haley is taking some crap, I guess you would say, from the mainstream corporate media recently about this tweet. Now, I'm about to show you a video where they brought this psychopathic revisionist historian on to go through this tweet and just lie, trying to fact check it. So let's read it first. George Washington turned an army of ragtag troops into an unstoppable force that defeated the British and secured America's independence. As president, he oversaw the creation of our Constitution and showed the world what it looks like to govern by the people and for the people. Now, I don't really see a problem with this post, but let's go ahead and see what the crazies at CNN had to say.
Nikki Haley, the former ambassador to the United Nations and a potential GOP candidate for president in 2024, is getting heat from historians for a tweet that she sent out on President's Day, attempting to pay tribute to America's first president. Only problem is, that's not at all how things went down, and presidential historian Alexis Coe called her out on it. Coe wrote a biography of George Washington called You Never Forget Your First, and she's with us now to talk about this. So just fact check the tweet for us.
I mean, it's hard to know where to begin. It's 280 characters and a whole lot of errors. So from the very beginning, the Continental Army was not unstoppable. As we know, it was almost 8 years of fighting the revolution, and the British had the most powerful navy in the entire world. We barely had them both. There were many times when it looked like we were going to lose. We were definitely not unstoppable. Then she said that George Washington was president and, oversaw the Constitution. That's simply not true. The Constitution created the presidency, and then Washington was, of course, our first president. The Constitutional Convention was 1787, the presidency 1789, and then the kicker, the way that she ends by quoting, by the people, for the people. Washington has been dead for many decades by the time Abraham Lincoln says that in the Gettysburg Address.
Alexis, that was amazing. Thank you just for walking us through that and fact checking us. It's quite the tweet and it's quite the fact check. Alexis Coe, thank you very much.
Okay, wow. The first thing she says that the Continental Army wasn't an unstoppable force. Okay, who won the Revolutionary War? Who fought against colonialism by the British and succeeded? That would be the Continental Army under George Washington's leadership. I think. Fact check me on that one, but I think. Unstoppable, were they stopped? No, they weren't stopped, so they were unstopped and unstoppable. So that's one. Let's move on. Our next claim has to do with George Washington overseeing the creation of the Constitution, Bill of Rights, and that sort of thing. And she says, no. But I'd like for you to go ahead and look up when George Washington was elected president. That was 1789. April 30th, 1789. And when was the Constitution ratified? December 15th, 1791. 2 years later. That's interesting. Very interesting. As a matter of fact, it says right here, Madison introduced 17 amendments to the Constitution, born from the Massachusetts Compromise, of which Congress adopted 12 on September 25th, 1789, 5 months after George Washington had been elected the president. Okay? Then, 10 of those 12 were ratified on December 15th, 1791, as well as the Constitution. So he most certainly presided over the creation and ratification of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, which is obviously part of the Constitution. That shows you right there exactly what these people are trying to do. They're taking things out of context, they're twisting, they're revising history, revising fact, and saying this 280 character tweet didn't get down to the nitty gritty details, so let's just bust her out of the water. Meanwhile, they fact checked me for saying that Joe Biden said that there was no vaccines when he came into office, which he literally said. Now we're going to move on to the most dubious claim that she made.
The kicker, the way that she ends by quoting, by the people, for the people, Washington has been dead for many decades by the time Abraham Lincoln says that in the Gettysburg Address.
Wow. So she's saying that even the last part of what Nikki Haley said showed the world what it looks like to govern by the people and for the people. She's trying to say that that's false because Lincoln hadn't said it yet. But what was Lincoln saying? He was describing the United States of America and the government. And George Washington was the first president of that government. This isn't hard to understand. They're purposefully misconstruing, doing exactly what leftists always do. Always. They are so disingenuous, it's almost hard to take them seriously at this point. Enough is enough. And look, I'm not no Nikki Haley fanboy, okay? She's whatever. But this is just another example of them trying to revise history and twist words and make things up in order to what? Play to their base or let the idiots read the headline of these types of things and say, oh yeah, ha ha ha, what an idiot. Except everything she said is correct. On purpose, CNN comes on with this woman who's trying to sell a book, who's obviously a woke historian, just making things up. This is just getting absolutely ridiculous. This just goes to show you, I've said it before, I'll say it again, and I encourage you highly to do the same thing. Don't apologize. Don't bow down to people who have no idea what they're talking about. Stand in the truth, rather than what the left likes to say, your truth. It's the truth. There is a reality. There is a reality, and we all live in it. Hate to break it to you. Sorry. Don't forget, follow us on Gab, on MeWe, on YouTube. We'll talk to you guys later. My name's Corey Allen.